Welcome to Dive Talks with Anthony. Today we're going to be having an insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that will be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being. However, in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about the power of alone time, why solitude is essential for mental clarity, right? I want to discuss with you guys, right, the benefits of solitude, which is that alone time, right, for mental health, creativity, and emotional regulation, while offering practical ways to embrace your alone time, right? So let's dive into our introduction of why alone time matters, right? So first off, I want to really say is, have you ever felt overwhelmed by the noise of life, endless notifications, constant conversations, and the pressure to always be on, right? The energy, always consuming, always pushing out, right? In today's world that, the rarity of being alone, right? People make it seem like when you're alone, you're a loser or you're a dub or you ain't got nothing going on, you ain't got no friends. So always certain things or certain stigmas that are being pushed on the person that's being alone. But little do you know, it's a hidden treasure, right? But in this video, I really want to take into consideration on how to embrace and explore into solitude and how making space, aka that time for quiet moments, can bring clarity, creativity, and emotional balance back into your life. So first key point I want to talk about is many of us avoid being alone, fearing boredom or loneliness, right? Because like I said, there's so many different stereotypes or stigmas in regards to that person being lonely that are negative, right? But we don't take into consideration of peace of mind. And you get peace of mind when you kind of get away from the noise and you have your peace of mind, because everybody's is different, right? But when you have your own alone time and you find these quiet moments to really, reflect, it really allows you to embrace yourself, find the balance, and like I said, give yourself that clarity, right? Next key point we're going to be able to talk about is solitude can be a gift, right? So offering a much needed break from the chaos of daily life, right? So we have work, we have our family, we have our own, the diligence and things that we have going on that may be affecting us, whether it be positive or negative. However, we have to have that balance, and solitude could be that gift to be able to give us, like I said, that clarity, creativity, and that emotional balance to be able to, regulate things in our life, right? In regards to research insights from a 2017 study in personality and social psychology, Bulletin found that intentional solitude is linked to reduce stress and increase emotional well-being. I find that this is major because, like I said, in a life that's chaotic, a lot of things are going on, we're always being pushed with media and different narratives and different things that are going on, right? I really want us to take into consideration to make sure that we have our own peace of mind, and by getting that is solitude, aka that alone time. Next section, we're going to be talking about the benefits of solitude for mental health, right? So let's dive into how spending time alone can actively strengthen our mental health. So key point number one, we're going to be talking about reduce stress. This is major because we don't want to be tore from the floor up. We don't want to be having, our body feeling tense and, our mind exhausted and all that type of stuff. So alone time lowers external stimulation, helping your nervous system, reset, right? So allows your nervous system to take a break, allows your brain to really feel at ease again. And this is something that we need to do because, like I said, it reduces that stress by having that alone time and kind of moving yourself away from the chaos, moving yourself away from friends, family, whoever may be, right? Next, we're going to be talking about improves emotional regulation, right? So solitude provides space to reflect, process feelings, and have a calm mind. This is really big because sometimes when we're in moments when we're frustrated, we may pop off, right? Things may get physical, and there's obviously going to be consequences for our actions, right? But when we're having a calm mind, when we're practicing solitude, this is going to be able to help us build that resilience to be able to know how to emotionally regulate our body, regulate our mind, so we're not putting ourselves into critical situations that, could have been prevented, right? So I really want us to be able to utilize these mental health techniques so we're improving ourselves, we're benefiting our personal lives in addition to our well-being. This is what we do on Thriving Talks, you heard? Moving on to the next key point, we're going to be talking about boost self-awareness, which is major, right? So being alone helps you better understand your emotions, your values, in addition to your needs. Everybody's different. Yours is going to be different. When we focus on ourselves, we're going to be able to get our needs met. Next is going to be fosters independence. So learning to enjoy your own company builds confidence, resilience, right? You want to be able to stand firm in your skin. You want to stand firm when you put your 10 toes down. You want to be able to feel good in any environment that you walk into. And by doing this, you're going to be able to learn yourself, learn more about your thoughts, your mind, your emotions, and all these type of things by that reflective work, by having that alone time. Moving forward, I want to be able to dive into some research as well from a 2021 review in Frontiers in Psychology found that regular periods of solitude are linked to increased emotional regulation and reduced risk of burnout, right? So when we're doing this, we're giving ourselves those mental breaks, reducing that stress. This is really going to be able to help us navigate, get to where we need to be, and like I said, have a good, positive well-being and mindset. In regards to our next segment, we're going to be talking about solitude and creativity, right? So we can be innovative, we can switch things up, and when we link quiet with innovation, things could really bring us that peace of mind when we're having our own free space, we're in our own free space, right? So I want to ask you a question. Did you know that some of the world's greatest ideas were born in solitude, right? So when we're alone. So creative, thoughts will be able to break down as we're spending time alone and we're getting ourselves away from the distractions and getting away from, like I said, that loud, chaotic noise. So key point number one in regards to our segment, I want us to be able to talk about quiet sparks insight, right? So solitude gives the brain space to wander and connect with ideas. Next, daydreaming as problem solving, right? So the mind can generate fresh perspectives when it's free to roam, right? Like I said, in a calm, conducive environment. It can even be at the beach, it can be near a pond, a lake, whatever it may be, or even nature, right? Just finding some spot, a bench, just finding some spot that you find that's conducive for you, where you feel safe, you feel calm, and it's giving you that balance to really feel, disconnected from other people, so you're able to really reconnect with yourself. Next is going to be freedom from external judgments, right? So in solitude, you can explore ideas without worrying about other options or other opinions, rather, right? So this is going to be really going to help you build your confidence up, because like I said, you're really trying to tune back into your thoughts, your needs, your system, right? By really thinking about you and putting you first in this situation. So like I said, I want you to embrace solitude. It may look weird, it may feel funky in the beginning, but as you practice, as you take this thing serious, you're going to realize you're going to become stronger, you're going to improve your mental health significantly, and obviously reduce that stress, because we don't want to be tore from the flow up, right? Moving on to some research from a 2016 study published by Thinking Skills and Creativity found that solitude promotes divergent thinking, a key component of creativity, right? So if we really want to be innovative and really just get away from the norm and maybe develop something that's really creative or different, right? We got to get away from the noise. We got to get away from other people's external thoughts and seeking their validation and stuff like that. We're going to be able to get that when our brain's able to be in a nice environment that's calm, so our brain could really be able to dive into that creativity. In regards to our next segment, I want to slide right into common fears about being alone and how to refrain from them. So it's natural to feel unease, like I mentioned in the beginning, right? So spending time alone, especially in culture that prizes constant connection, right? So always being around other people, you may get looked upon different, whatever that may be, right? But I want to address some of these common fears so we're able to shift our mindset. The first key point I want to dive right into is going to be fear of loneliness, right? So solitude is not the same as isolation. Loneliness is a lack of connection. Solitude is an intentional choice to pause and reflect, right? So once again, loneliness is a lack of connection. That's, something that's going on in regards to, emotions, things that, are pulling you away from connecting with others. However, solitude is a choice that you're trying to make to be able to rewire your mind, get connected with yourself, really be able to lower that stress, reflect on thoughts, behaviors, emotions, etc. So you're able to have a strong, resilient mind to be able to navigate through life's challenges, or even give yourself that creativity that you need to, do whatever you want to do, right? But in regards to the next one, we're going to be talking about the fear of missing out. Right? So being alone allows you to reconnect with yourself, rather than always chasing external validation, right? So I want us to take in consideration this is major, because we define who we are, right? We control our destiny. We love ourselves when we pour positivity, and I really want us to focus on solitude and giving us that alone time, because it's going to be a reward for ourselves, rather than seeking and following other people in the pack that are giving us that stress, anxiety, and even depression. Moving forward, I want to talk about the fear of boredom, right? So boredom is often the doorway to deepen, right, that creativity and even that self-discovery, right? So we talked about common fears about being alone. I really hope that you guys are able to transition to a positive mindset, so you're able to really embrace yourself, embrace this new change. And I'm gonna be real with you, right? It's practice, but at the same time too, I want us to take in consideration about timing, right? I'm not saying you got to do this, to get yourself away, like I said, that loneliness, away from people all the time. But I want you to designate a certain amount of time for yourself to practice this, so you're able to really be in tune with yourself and your mental health as well, right? So forget about the external validation, what other people may think, and do what's best for you, please. That's all I'm saying, right? So I want you to refrain from thinking that solitude is negative, whatever that may be, right? This is something that's going to be able to nourish your soul, nourish your mind, right? After a long day from work, school, whatever they be, this is going to be something that's going to really help you to really balance out your thoughts, how you're feeling, and then, like I said, knowing how to persist and moving on to the next transition within your life. In regards to our next segment, we're going to be talking about how to embrace and enjoy our alone time. Right? So solitude doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be difficult, right? So here's some simple ways we're able to start embracing ourselves, our alone time in our daily life. First key point, we're going to be talking about schedule time for yourself, as mentioned briefly, right? So block off solo time that you like, for yourself. The same way you're able to allocate times for meetings, allocate time for other people, this is time for yourself to really be able to schedule time for yourself to, have your solo time. Next is going to be able to create a ritual, right? So a light candle, brew some tea, playing some soft music to make that alone time feel special, right? So whether you have your headphones or you're just tuning into nature, you listen to the birds chirp, and you're just watching the water, and you're just kind of watching things just fly and past you, but you're also too, you're tuning into your emotions, you're tuning into yourself, and you're being present. This is going to be able to help you, down the long haul. But like I said, you want to be able to create a ritual, so this is going to be something to, work into your self-care plan. Next is going to be unplug, right? So step away from the devices, right, to fully experience the present moment, right? You're not going to be able to really get significant benefits in your life if you're bringing all the chaos with you, right? So I really want to highlight this, is that you're going to have to be able to, put those things on pause, turn the phones off, right? And really tune into really being present, so you're able to really, right, benefit and help your mind, your body, right, embrace that solitude, so you're able to gain that mental health benefit. Next is going to be, start small. So even 10 to 15 minutes of quiet time can make a significant difference. I'm going to be real with you. We're in different circumstances where, whatever the job may be, right? It can be tough. You're dealing with a lot of things, your boss, management, people that you work with. You can even love your job, but it's the people that you work with, you maybe not be in the best conducive environment. But like I said, giving yourself 10, 15 minutes a day is going to really be able to help you navigate, think, reflect, and give your mind, your brain, that balance that it needs to really, balance things out instead of having that stress build up. So like I said, start small, and then, like I said, mentioned earlier, is that create that ritual so it works into your self-care regimen. Next is going to be reflect and journal, right? So use your alone time to ask meaningful questions, right? What am I feeling? What do I need? Right? And by doing the journaling, it's going to really be able to help you. My journal, that matter of fact, is really going to be able to help you progress, right? As you're navigating through, right? And you're also able to see where you was at when you first started versus 90 days or couple years after, right? So I really want us to work this regimen in, because as we're navigating through our life and we're progressing year after year, day after day, we're going to be able to see the changes. But life's what we make of it, and life is simply effort. I wouldn't say it's too easy, I wouldn't say it's too hard, but it can be manageable based off of the effort that we put in. So once again, I want us to take in consideration, schedule time for yourself, create that ritual, unplug from people, right? Start small, right? 10 to 15 minutes a day, and adding more time as needed, and then just reflect and journal. This is going to be able to help the mind, the body, and have you have more awareness to your emotions. Let's dive right into a 2020 study in regards to the Journal of Environmental Psychology. Found that spending time alone in nature, even briefly, improves the mood and cognitive functioning. So like I said, for me, I like the beach. It feels good to have my feet in the sand, have my little beach chair, and just looking at the birds and different things going on. And it helps me being, like I said, in a conducive environment where I'm able to reflect on myself, my emotions, and really make sure that I have the right techniques and skills to be able to navigate whatever challenge comes my way. right? So like I said, solitude is great. This could really benefit us through our life when we add it into our self-care regimen. Let's just really just wrap things up right now, right? So solitude is not a luxury, it's a necessity, right? So for that mental clarity, emotional well-being, in addition to that creativity, right? So by making space for that alone time, you're able to reconnect with your inner self. That connection is going to be able to change your life over time. Don't get it twisted. Like, I'm not going to say that you're going to be a whole different person tomorrow, but like I said, what's going to be able to change your life when you keep adding that effort. So I want you to remember, you're never truly alone when you're with yourself, right? So I want you to love yourself, have that music, have whatever you need to have with yourself, but like we said too, is be present. You want to be present so that inner work could be done, and you have the right awareness so you're able to navigate and have that positive well-being. If you found this video was beneficial, give it a thumbs up, comment if necessary, and share, please. Thank you for that with me. Take it easy and enjoy that solitude time, because it will be necessary for you.